Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
A binding agreement on behalf of governments, corporations, industry, media, intelligence, academia, and more to uphold and protect every man, woman, and child's right to digital identity, data, and currency. At Swiss Key, we are building out a super wallet, a solution that puts you in full control. Most of the pieces are in place, and we are doing our best with all resources in hand to move as quickly as possible. We need your help. If you want to be involved, subscribe to our newsletter, follow us on social channels, and reach out. If you can't help with your time, you can help with your money. You can invest in the project, you can buy NFC wallets, or you can make an anonymous donation with crypto. If nothing else, please share this message. Think critically about your actions, and always do your best.
Okay, so he goes into sales pitch mode for his company. No problem. He's trying to make a living. I respect the hustle. Swiss Key sounds like the name of his company. He wants to make a living out of this COVID mess too, but a living by protecting our privacy and identity. I'd say he's one of the good guys, though he's got a bit of a guru vibe to him that's a little bit much for me. But do you know who this guy is? Do you recognize him? Let me play the last few seconds of this video and he'll say his name.
With unconditional love and gratitude, I'm Kyle Kemper. Thank you for your attention, and bless you.
Do you know any other man who talks that way? I only know of one, Justin Trudeau. And those around Justin Trudeau, like the disgraced, law-breaking former finance minister Bill Morneau. So who is Kyle Kemper? Why, it's Justin Trudeau's half-brother. When Margaret Trudeau divorced Pierre Trudeau, she married Freed Kemper, and Kyle was her son from that marriage. That's the guy we've been watching. He looks a bit like Margaret Trudeau, doesn't he? He's got that Justin Trudeau cringe guru thing with the namaste prayer and the heart thing. But I think, to be really candid, putting aside the particular sales pitch, I think he's largely right. Don't you? And I can't believe I'm saying that about Justin Trudeau's half-brother. Of course, what I like about him is exactly what the media party hates about him. I discovered him through a newspaper article. Here's that article. They mention some of his videos. It's in the National Post. It's by John Iveson. His headline is, Trudeau's half-brother is an anti-vaxxer, Bitcoin entrepreneur, and affectionate critic of the PM. I'm seeing sensible, intelligent people, my family, our elected representatives willing to sacrifice their basic human rights in response to this COVID crisis, Kyle Kemper says. I read the quotes of Kyle Kemper in this Post story, and they're all torqued. He actually comes across very reasonably, just like a thoughtful skeptic. Kyle Kemper believes a global corporatocracy has taken advantage of the COVID crisis to diminish democracy and heighten control over people's lives. Yeah, well, Jeff Bezos and Amazon doubled their wealth during the pandemic. So it's not untrue, is it? Kemper agrees with Carolina Panthers offensive tackle and fellow Bitcoin believer Russell Okung. The real battle is not simply left or right, it is authoritarianism versus libertarianism. Well, of course that's right. Is there a reason that's not right? He has retweeted conspiracy theories about election fraud in the U.S. and promoted ideas that Trudeau's Liberals found so reprehensible they called for a Conservative MP holding them to be kicked out of the opposition caucus. Are you trying to make me like him? On social media, Kemper urged people to sign petition E2961, which was sponsored in the House of Commons by Conservative Derek Sloan. It calls COVID vaccination, quote, human experimentation, and suggests there could be serious adverse effects to taking it. On his Facebook page, Kemper blasts the Great Reset and people who think 100% of the planet needs to be vaccinated with an experimental concoction to prevent a disease with a 99% recovery rate. This is sheer madness. I dissent. Again, where's the error? the vaccine companies themselves all say these things. I don't know if it's for legal reasons, if anything, if nothing else. Their vaccines are not yet approved. They have not finished the experimentation. They're all still experimental drugs. They're only authorized for emergency use because politicians say the pandemic is so bad, you got to use unapproved, untested drugs. They're partly tested, but they're not done yet. The pandemic is not so bad for most people. Where's the error? Here's some more. Kemper said there remains a gigantic divide in the scientific community over the COVID response. Vaccine manufacturers are exempt from liability. That scares me. There are so many ways we can improve our immune systems to counter coronavirus. The sun gives us vitamin D, and it's great for the immune system. But Justin and the public health officials don't tell people to get outside and get vitamin D, he said. Again, this is put forward like it's embarrassing, but of course it's the opposite. It's true. There's no rebuttal in this piece. It's just sort of written with a knowing tone. Of course this guy's a kook, right? And then this bizarre smear. Some of Kemper's views hove close to QAnon, the discredited conspiracy theory that alleges Satan-worshipping pedophiles are running a child trafficking ring and plotted against Donald Trump. Yeah, here's Bill Gates, the billionaire, and Jeffrey Epstein, the child trafficker. We now learn that Melinda Gates contacted a divorce lawyer after she discovered her husband's relationship with Epstein, the child trafficker. And then there's, of course, the Hollywood child trafficker, Harvey Weinstein. Which part exactly is the National Post saying is the conspiracy theory? Haven't those all been proved in conspiracy facts now? Is there any doubt that Jeffrey Epstein was a child trafficker and that Bill Gates visited him endlessly? I tell you, I never thought I would see the day. Kyle Kemper isn't my first choice. Any guy who does that heart-shaped thing is probably disqualified from leading a country. But still, if I'm forced to choose, I think the wrong son of Margaret Trudeau became Prime Minister. That's an excerpt from my daily show, the Ezra Levant Show. Every day I do a monologue on the news of the day, then I interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. You gotta subscribe. Go to rebelnews.com.